Hello, thanks for joining us again on this very special episode where we're going to be giving you our top 12 rankings per position for the 2024 fantasy football season. We're going to be going through all of them, giving you our accumulative rankings as a podcast, talking through all of them and hopefully helping you out with your fantasy teams this year. This is In the Pocket Across the Pond. I'm Lewis. I'm joined by the two Alexes. Let's do it. Lads, before we get into our official rankings, top 12 per position, we'll just run through some news that's happened a fair bit, to be honest with you, in the last week and a bit since the last episode. So, rookie Jayden Daniels, he's named the starting quarterback for the Commanders. Shock horror. This is good, I think. I mean, I'm hearing a lot about Jayden Daniels being a sneaky fantasy asset, you know, with his running and stuff. We knew that was going to happen, didn't we, Al?
Yeah, telegraphed. I mean, amazing collegiate play, especially that final year. It was in many ways, obviously there was no national championship, but statistics-wise, impact-wise in terms of talent, obviously he won the Heisman. He was at LSU, pretty comparable in many ways to Joe Burrow's final season at LSU. But yeah, he's got the rushing ability, so that's why I think in leagues where you're drafting with people that are, you know, kind of pretty switched on, locked into fantasy, I think you're going to be seeing him drafted, is what I'll say. And you might be, as opposed to like, I think you might see Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence undrafted in some of your fantasy leagues and Jayden Daniels drafted. So clearly some upside there, yeah.
Decent. Also, rookie Bo Nix named the starting quarterback for the Broncos. Another one that was like, yeah, we know. Just, yeah. Which, I mean, I'm looking forward to see Bo Nix. I think he'll be interesting. It's weird, you know, we probably spoke about this when we were doing all the draft stuff, but it's like, you have these guys like Jayden Daniels, who I know he's just been named the starter, but I guess he's a bit more of a prospect, whereas you have Bo Nix, who not as highly touted, but people sort of see him more as a NFL-ready type of guy. I mean, we'll see what Sean Payton can do with him. Yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing him though. Something a bit different, something a bit fresh. Get my boy Colton Sutton back up those rankings.
It's a hell of a quarterback room in Denver. Bo Nix, Zach Wilson, Jared Stidham. I mean,
ooh, yeah.
That is one hell of a competition. That's like the NFL quarterback competition of the producers. It's like, just make the worst competition and people will be more interested in that.
Yeah, because they're all as bad as each other, maybe. So that's why it's pretty competitive. But no, yeah, Nix played forever in college, safe, accurate. You're hoping that I'd be hoping that it leads to a lot of dump offs to like Javonte Williams. To be honest with you, I think you might. Best case scenario, we get like a kind of, you know, I don't know, discount Alvin Kamara of old. So yeah.
Decent. The Raiders named Gardner Minshew their starting quarterback. I like this just because Minshew can throw it. I never like the comparisons to Ryan Fitzpatrick, you know, because Ryan Fitzpatrick is much more of a gunslinger, but Minshew's still he's fine, and I think this gives me confidence in Devontae Adams more so than Aidan O'Connell, really. What about you, Sharples? I mean,
fully agree. Well, we all know my thoughts about Aidan O'Connell, so I'm glad he's out of it. But I mean, Minshew propped up Michael Pittman last year, who that was surely the best year of his career.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to be fair, in terms of Pittman's output, he was far better with Minshew than he was with Richardson, which is why I do have a few question marks about Pittman this year. But no, I mean, you know what you're going to get with Minshew, and like you say, with someone like Devontae Adams there, he's shown he can do it. He's shown he could supply Pittman. Adams is a better wide receiver as long as he's not dropped off. So yeah, why not?
Yeah. In not so good news for rookie quarterback JJ McCarthy, he's been ruled out for the season after undergoing knee surgery. Sam Darnold is in line to be the starting quarterback for the Vikings. I didn't really see those two all that differently, just because obviously JJ McCarthy's a rookie, you don't know. Sam Darnold isn't great, but could be serviceable. People are like, maybe this is the last dance, the last chance for Darnold. No. Maybe he come. No.
He's terrible. He's terrible. There was upside though with McCarthy. However, there was that year where Darnold was in Carolina, and you had that insane season or part of season from Robbie Chosen, formerly Robbie Anderson.
Yeah. Yes. Is he not Chosen Anderson?
It was what I think it was both. I think it's been one than the other.
Chosen.
Yeah, but yeah. So you had that. Yeah. So, which is the only time Sam Darnold has ever helped a fantasy receiver, but he's never had Justin Jefferson. So
true.
On that, to be fair, now we're in draft season, and it's kind of like put your money where your mouth is. I've been finding myself trusting the talent of Justin Jefferson a lot more than, he's not got a quarterback. It's Justin Jefferson, you know what I mean? If you've got a pick towards the end of your first round and he's still on the board, snatch him.
I agree. It's the best wide receiver in the league. Kareem's going to rise to the top. All of that. Another one that was telegraphed, but just confirmation. Nick Chubb been placed on reserve PUP list. He's going to miss at least the first 4 games of the season. Maybe this will actually, because it's official now, maybe this will bump Jerome Ford up ADP, draft boards and stuff, because he's still really low down. It's like this is a free month of a starting running back that you can get in like the 11th round.
I'm surprised he's not been bumped already, because I feel like I've known for a few weeks to a month that Chubb's going to miss. Well, certainly 4 weeks. I've heard 7 weeks at times.
We don't have your crystal ball, Sharples. So.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's not like I'm Field Yates or the gang. But so I don't see how I know that, but everyone else doesn't seem to. And Jerome Ford's shown that he can do it when given the chance. So yeah, and I mean, we don't know what Chubb's going to look like when he comes back. I mean, if Ford lights it up, there is a world, Lewis, where Chubb is the second choice running back. I don't know, maybe.
I think, like you're saying, like Nick Chubb has come back from catastrophic injuries before, but this is another one that he's coming back from, and he's older now. I think once he's back, it's much more likely that they are splitting the carries. Then it's like, okay, it's Chubb now. So, I don't know. But there's always the possibility. I mean, Nick Chubb's a great running back, so, yeah. The Commanders have traded wide receiver Jahan Dotson to the Eagles. Jahan Dotson, one of those guys who's like, I keep being told that he's really good. So, what's the impact here, first of all, on the wide receivers in Philadelphia, namely Devonta Smith, if at all, Al?
Zero.
I
don't think you worry at all. I think you worry if you've already drafted Dallas Goedert, maybe. But why would you do that anyway? You worry if you've drafted Dallas Goedert, but no, nothing. I'm not concerned at all if I'm a Devonta Smith owner.
Nice. And Sharples, Terry McLaurin. Does this make Terry McLaurin any more appealing to you in drafts? Like, we know he was obviously probably going to be the number 1 tag, but we know now he is 100%.
I mean, it's obviously hard to say because we don't know what Jaden Daniels can do, but like we've known for years now that Terry McLaurin is really good wide receiver, like legit, but it's just never consistently translated for fantasy. So, he's been the clear number 1 for a while now anyway, so it wouldn't really nudge my Terry McLaurin rate, and I'm already pretty out on him unless he falls to what I'd consider an acceptable level, which is a shame because really talented, but just not seeing it, and I've been waiting for it for 3 years now with McLaurin. So unless Daniels comes in and he's ready made and is slinging it, then you could say, oh yeah, fair play, big impact. that he's the only guy out there. But no, it's the Commanders. It's just too murky for me to wade into.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it did make my sort of ears perk up when I heard it and thought, oh, maybe I'll bump McLaurin up a couple of spots. But yeah, like I said, nothing incredible. The Chiefs have signed Juju Smith-Schuster. This means nothing. Don't pick Juju Smith-Schuster up.
Sorry. Has he already been on the Chiefs?
Yeah,
right.
He was on the Chiefs at the end of last
Right.
year. He was on the Chiefs at the end of last
okay.
year. They've just re-signed him, essentially.
Okay.
But again, that tells you how impactful he was at the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And as of recording right now, 8:30 p.m, Monday, 26th of August, still no contract for CD Lamb.
6:30. 6:30, Lou. Get it right, mate.
Oh, shit.
There's still time before the 8:30 deadline that you've just set.
I read
If he signs the next hour, we'd look
18.
like idiots.
I read
Right,
the
yeah,
18,
yeah.
and
I'm getting
I'm not
worried
the
now
only
with that.
I'm not
I'm
the
getting
only
worried
person
with
who does
that. I'm
that.
getting worried with the Chase thing.
Yeah, no contract for CD Lamb, no contract for Jamar Chase, no movement for Brandon Ayuk either. I mean, those CD Lamb and Chase, I think this now has affected my rankings of them, which we'll get into when we get into our rankings. But yeah, this
But
is.
I mean, the thing is, it's not really seeming to affect the ADP. Brandon Ayuk, however, is sliding. I think we were in a draft together last night, the three of us, and Ayuk fell about 30 places.
I know. It's interesting. I mean, I suppose it's because he doesn't have that game breaking sort of ability, or that sort of league winning stature that the two other guys have. The people are still willing to hold on.
I think as well the difference between Ayuk and those other two, people are assuming Lamb and Chase will stay, whereas people are assuming that Ayuk will leave, and obviously Ayuk leaving is an unknown quantity. So I don't think that's helping him.
Of course, yeah. And then not news, but just a really fun little graphic that I saw that I thought I'd bring to you. Just the caption of it. The Giants have finished the NFL preseason without throwing a single passing touchdown. Sign of things to come for the New York Giants, I think.
Did you see the score of the Falcons game, by the way?
No, what was it?
They scored like 0 points.
Nice.
Yeah.
Listen, it's preseason. It means nothing. It means
Cousins was on the sideline with a helmet on and no pads. He was locked in, even though he wasn't playing.
Yeah, it's just one of those. It's like, yeah, sure, you could read into who's out with the starters, how many routes people are in, who's out there at the end of the game and stuff like that. But really, it's no barometer for how good a team's going to be or anything like that.
Kenny Pickett was the talk of last off season, and look what happened to him.
There we go. Let's get into our rankings, lads. Our official, in the pocket across the pond, official top 12 at each position. We've accumulated each of our rankings, and from that we've got a lovely list here. We'll start with quarterbacks. Coming in at number 12 is Jared Goff. Sharples has him at 14, Al 13. I've got Jared Goff at 12. So I'll speak on him a little. I just think, you know what? I'm just being... It's just because they're playing so many games inside, so many games weather controlled, and it's so stupid because it's like, it's not even real analysis. It's just Jared Goff plays better at home and indoors. And they're playing all but 2 games there. And this offense, in all seriousness, this offense, I think is going to be really good again. He's got the weapons. He was decent enough last year. I think you can't, if you're in a big league and you're just punting quarterback, you look at the schedule to start the season as well. I think there's a lot worse places to go than Jared Goff. if you're punting your quarterback there. So that's why I would easily put him in my top 12, which I have done at 12. Number 11, Al has this guy at 11. Sharples has this guy at 11. I also have this guy at 11. It's Brock Purdy. Sharples.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know, but just a general point about it. I don't know how you lads feel about it. I'm really comfortable at quarterback this year, having anyone from quarterback 1 to quarterback 12. There's the guys that we think have the higher upside, maybe with the rushing touchdowns and that. But looking at the list that we've all put together, I'm even extending up to the guys who we've got in 13, 14, 15. I would be perfectly fine with them as my starting quarterback. So I found it quite tough to rank this year because I do like a lot of them. And I also found it quite hard to put Brock Purdy as low as I did because I had him last year. He certainly wasn't sexy, but he finished quarterback 6. He was averaging 18 points a game. I'm absolutely ecstatic with that, to be honest with you, especially when you're getting him late. And with a guy like him, because you know what it's like. Some of the big hitters that we've got high up are probably going to drop out. I wouldn't be surprised if Purdy finishes in that 6, 7, 8 range again. But the theory of it says that he will finish outside of it, and I think 11's quite a respectable place for him.
We also think that because we've all got him there. Brock Purdy, solid. I don't know how much that needle moves if Brandon Ayuk does leave. I don't think an amazing amount because he does still have George Kittle, he does still have Deebo Samuel, he does still have Christian McCaffrey. But yeah, coming in at number 10 is a player that Alex has at 10, Sharples has at 10, but I have at 8. It's Jordan Love. I've got Jordan Love at 8 just because I think that the wide receiver core that he's dealing with is really good. It was his first year as a starter last year, and he did look great. And I know last episode or the episode before we were sort of memeing on the Packers for paying him that much money, but they've seen something in him, and I just think ahead of Purdy, Goff, ahead of Burrow, Prescott for me, I just think he's very exciting to see. Like I like this team. I like the head coach. It's one of those where it's like I feel like we've seen Dak Prescott's ceiling, Joe Burrow. We've seen the ceiling, just maybe not that much of it. Jordan Love, I don't know if we've seen the ceiling yet, and I think that ceiling could be pretty high. So that's why I've got him as that upper echelon of the sort of the passing quarterbacks, we'll say. It probably wouldn't move the needle in terms of our rankings, but I have him in my rankings below Dak Prescott, and I was facing the two of them down in a draft last night, and I picked Jordan Love instead, so maybe I would flip those two around for those exact reasons that you said, Love. I think, Lou, you could Love. We're Northern though, it's fine. I could have got away with that. For all those reasons that you just said, Lou. And I think you could argue that he's shown just as much, if not more, than CJ Stroud, fantasy-wise at least. I don't know, real life, because Stroud was amazing last year. I think Stroud's a better player than Jordan Love. Don't shoot me. But look at the stats, look at the game logs. He showed just as much, if not more, and he's been playing a bit longer than CJ Stroud. So I think we're justified having him kind of this high. Maybe he should be higher, but yeah, I think he'll be really good this year. Sure. Coming in at number 9, Joe Burrow. I've got him at 10, Sharples at 9. Al, you've got him at 8.
Yeah, I mean, he's just kind of a real powerhouse of a fantasy quarterback when everything is clicking there. A few years ago when he had a really good season, he was kind of like the prototypical throwing quarterback that could also be really viable for fantasy. We didn't need all the rushing yards, the rushing touchdowns to kind of be elite for fantasy. And if he can get back to how he was playing and how the Bengals were playing 2 years ago, this is going to be a steal at 8. It's just the sheer volume of touchdowns and yards that he can throw. I'm a huge Joe Burrow fan. I'm kind of the guy himself, I'm less Joe Cool, more Joe Cringe for me at the minute. But quarterback-wise, NFL-wise, amazing player. I think you're potentially getting the second or third best quarterback in the whole league at quarterback 8 for fantasy.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. At number 8 for us, Dak Prescott. Al's got him at 9, I've got him at 9, Sharples at 8. It's interesting, these three guys that we just spoke about, Prescott, Burrow, Love, they're sort of in a bit of a tier amongst themselves, and it's interesting that all three of us has a different one as the highest one. Sharples, you're highest on Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I think you two have been burnt one too many times by him as Cowboys fans, so I don't think that helps. But with Dak, obviously, it is a bit of a risk. The CeeDee Lamb contract situation is hovering around, which is probably making people think twice. But, Dak's the kind of guy who can rip off 5 games where he has 30 points each time. I think he could be wrong in saying this, but didn't he win people leagues at the end of last season with the run that he put together? And for me, what separates Dak from those two, in theory, is that Dak is a well-known touchdown leech. Like, he will get to the end zone. Everyone who's had Cowboys running backs over the past few years knows that if he gets to the end zone, Dak is very likely to run in there and sneak one. And yeah, I just think he of those three guys, because I agree they are similar. He's the one that's really going to grab a few games by the scruff of the neck, bang you 30 points each week, and that's potentially what gets you into your playoffs. So just think Dak slightly higher ceiling, although probably the riskiest of the three this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. I mean, we do all still like these players. At number 7 is really it is the gold standard. We obviously think of the pocket passing quarterback. It's Coleridge, Bernard, Stroud, the 4th. We all have him at number 7. CJ Stroud. I guess for all of the combined reasons we just spoke about the last quarterbacks, but he's just mint. He's really good, got more weapons, going into his second year, so that ceiling is going to be higher for the team and for him. Excited about Stroud, and I think quarterback 7 is reasonable. I'm seeing him going. We're probably a little bit lower than ADP and other rankings, but I think 7 is about right for me. What do you think, Al?
Yeah. Again, I'll just piggyback off what I said about Joe Burrow. It's kind of like the real life player is so overwhelmingly good that's going to translate to fantasy success. So I think 7 is right for a purely pocket passer.
Yeah. Coming in at number 6 is Kyler Murray. Al, Sharples, you both have him at 6. I've got him at 5. I feel like, fantasy football players, obviously including ourselves a lot of the time, have very short memories. It wasn't a long time ago that Kyler Murray was the quarterback 2, the quarterback 3 in drafts. You go in those first few rounds. He's been injured. He hasn't played a little while, and people have sort of forgot that. But now he's got what is projected to be a legit number 1 wide receiver in Marvin Harrison Jr. He's got a tight end who pretty much broke out at the end of last year in McBride. And Kyler Murray has always been able to, run around on those little feet of his and evade tacklers and get he turns a 10-yard run into a 50-yard run because he's running all over the place, but he still gets it done on the ground as well. Kyler Murray is a rushing quarterback, even though he's not the biggest, he is. And I don't know, I think for me, just Kyler Murray's a great player. And it's just people have maybe either forgotten that or maybe don't want to see it after the injury. I don't know. What do you think, Sharps?
I mean, he is a mysterious and frustrating little pixie, like you mentioned. All the talent, all the ability. I think people haven't liked what they've seen from him off the field over the past few years. The whole Call of Duty debacle doesn't help himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. I obviously, we've all got him ranked there. I found it tough to put him above guys who did really well last year, i.e., Stroud and Prescott and Love. But from all the things you said, if it clicked, not only does he have his legs, which he's always had, but now he's potentially got Marvin Harrison, McBride. It could be a big year, and if he really hits, you wouldn't be surprised if he finishes at quarterback 1. But I think there's just a lot of tentativeness around just 'cause we've not seen it for two years really now. So if he if he has a good year, then he's probably next year he's back up in the top 3, which is where he was going a couple of years ago. Top 3 quarterbacks.
Absolutely. That's it really. Number 5, Anthony Richardson. I've got him at 6. Al's got him at 5. Sharples, you've got him at 3. Whoo!
I'm sky high. I'm sky high on Anthony Richardson. Listen, obviously we didn't get to see it properly last year because he went down after 3 games or so. But the rushing production he was doing on those 3 games, if you extrapolate, it was wild. It was something like 700 yards and double-digit rushing touchdowns. Obviously, unfortunately, extrapolation isn't pure science, but I just for where he's going in, take your pick really, 5th, 6th, 7th. I've seen him going all 3. I just think he's got such an unbelievable upside that if he hits him, you pick him there. Yeah. There is. I am a little bit apprehensive with obviously, we've got Jonathan Taylor there. We didn't really see Pittman, Richardson and Taylor in the same offense last year because they were each out with various ailments. So there is a little bit of uncertainty, but you have to imagine with Steichen there and what he was doing offensively with the Eagles that there's a bit of magic there. And I just think that, it's just a freak. Like when I look at him, I'm scared of the man. Obviously there's a lot of potential for me to look a fool here, but I'm so high on him, I couldn't have him out of the top 3.
Yeah, I'm interested, Al, because I feel like you've talked Anthony Richardson up more than any of us on the podcast. You've got him at 5, which is still high. I'm just curious, of the mock drafts and real drafts that you have done so far, have you taken Richardson yet?
No. But that's just because I'm
scared.
I'm scared. I'm a wimp. The guys above him for me are all super proven, and Anthony Richardson could be absolutely game breaking. I'm still, and like you're saying, Lou, I kind of gushed about him all last year. I'm still scared just because of how little football he played in college and thus far in his NFL career. I don't know what's happened to me. I should be pulling the trigger on Anthony Richardson in drafts a lot more. But yeah, the guys above him are just way, way more proven. They're in a different tier for me.
Sure. One of those guys above him is Lamar Jackson. We've accumulatively got him at number 4. Sharples at 5. Al at 4. I've got him at 3. I just like the continuity for Lamar Jackson. Mark Andrews still there. Zay Flowers coming into his 2nd year. I can just see him building on what he did last year. But now, it must be said, he was great last year. I don't think we had that sort of league-winning, absolutely game-breaking Lamar Jackson that we got a few years previously, which is why he isn't up there at number 1 for me. But quarterback 3, I see him pretty much like he was last year, which is no longer this sort of boom-bust player, which he was a bit earlier in his career and after his big year. I think he's weirdly a really safe pick this year, Lamar Jackson, at quarterback.
Lost a bit of weight as well. I think he's going to rush the ball a bit more this year than he did in previous years.
Yeah.
25 pounds, I heard. More than a bit.
You can see it.
Number 3, Patrick Mahomes. I've got him at 4, Sharples at 4. Al, you've got him at 3. I mean, this is where all these guys are meant. We're just getting into the nitty-gritty now. Al, you've got him the highest out of all of us.
He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT, you know what I mean? He's too good in real life to not be really, really good in fantasy as well. I could easily put him at 2 personally. Yeah, I mean, the production's going to be there. I think this is going to be a much improved Kansas City offense from last year.
Yeah.
He just does it. He does it all the time. So, yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. My favourite fantasy football phrase, some positive regression for this offense. Number 2 is Jalen Hurts. Al, you've got him at 2. Sharples, you've got him at 2. Jalen Hurts is my number 1 quarterback. Obviously you've got the rushing touchdowns for Jalen Hurts. I still think they're going to happen despite Jason Kelce retiring. But also you've got Kellen Moore coming in, offensive coordinator. The perception is that they're going to be a little bit more high flying as well. I like the addition of Jahan Dotson as well, just a bit more of a, dynamic wide receiver 3. AJ Brown's great. Devonta Smith is still great. Yeah, I just think you're getting that usual Jalen Hurts, but with the potential of even more through the air. So, yeah, I'm all about that, really. All about Jalen Hurts. Number 1, if you haven't guessed it by now, it's Trevor Lawrence. It's Josh Allen. I've got him at 2. You both have him at 1. I mean, just a little bit on... He's our number 1 quarterback, accumulatively, so you should draft him if you're in a position to do so sensibly. Sharples, what do you think about Josh Allen?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's not much to say. I mean, obviously, unbelievable arm, unbelievable legs. Obviously, there is a slight question mark. Will he be as effective with Diggs? We haven't seen him as this, superstar Josh Allen without Diggs being there. So there is a slight question, but they've still got weapons there, and he's just been so consistently good for fantasy that it's just hard to put anyone else up there, really.
I agree. And you know what? As I was doing these rankings, I was a bit like, hey, wait a minute. Josh Allen doesn't have like a clear number 1 wide receiver though. Like, what's going to go on it? So then I did look back at the last 7 weeks of last year when Joe Brady came in and Stephon Diggs sort of took a back seat. And I know Stephon Diggs was still there, decoying, drawing defences and stuff. But even without the focal point being Diggs, Josh Allen was still pretty excellent. So that's why I was like, okay, no, Josh Allen's still mint. He's still going to be great. Mm-hmm. And that's our quarterbacks. We're going to go to tight ends next, just because I don't want to leave that till last, because that would be boring. So we'll do tight end now. Number 12, Pat Freiermuth. Al, you've got him at 16, Sharples at 11. I've got Freiermuth at number 8. Just because I think I'm going for the player there. He's had garbage quarterback play pretty much his whole NFL career, and he's still been pretty relevant, pretty much averaging 10 fantasy points a game for his career. So regardless if it's, if it's Justin Fields loved targeting the tight end with Cole Kmet. And if it's Russell Wilson, you have that more, I guess, typical passer who is better. It's undeniable that he is better than what they had last year. So I just think Pat Freiermuth, obviously he's the tight end 12, so not going to blow the league up or anything. I just think he's a safe pick, a lot safer than you perceive him to be, Al, because I've got him 8 spots higher than you. But yeah, Freiermuth for me, you could do a lot worse at the position if you're punting it. Number 11, it's a rookie. It's Brock Bowers. Me and Sharples both have him at 12. Al, you have him at 8. So what are we missing here, mate?
I love taking Brock Bowers towards the end of my draft. Super high real-life draft pick, amazing talent, double national champion with Georgia. He's a great player. He really is, and they did not draft him that high to block. I think we saw last year what Sam Laporta did. These rookie tight ends can do it, so I'm not scared of drafting him, especially where he's going. I think he could have a really, really solid tight end season from Brock Bowers this year, especially with a competent quarterback like Minshew now confirmed.
Nice. Number 10, we got David Njoku. Me and Al both have him at 11. Sharples, you've got him at 9.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. Really good last year was the Joker. I think I said it on the last pod that we did. Like, from sort of tight end 6 onwards, they are sort of much of a muchness for me. But yeah, we saw Njoku do it last year. If Ayuk goes to the Browns, as was rumored a week or so ago, maybe not. But no, I think he's a pretty safe in terms of his floor. And last year he showed that when he had a couple of big games as well, that there was a ceiling there as well. So you're not going to be pumping your fist if you get Njoku, but I don't think you'll be binning him off after 3 weeks.
Sure, yeah, he's a bit of a steady Eddie, I guess. Really, I guess the question for me, which is why I got him a bit lower, is just with Deshaun Watson. But if Deshaun Watson even plays, because I don't know if he's injured or anything like that, but it's can that decent production that we saw with Flacco sustain? But he certainly is a really good player. He always has been a really good player in Joker. It's always been the situation that he's in that has been detrimental to him. But we got Evan Ingram coming in at 9. Me and Al, similar wavelength again, both at 10. Sharples, you've got Ingram at 7. I think me and Al have him at 10. Just we're expecting some sort of regression here. He's getting on a little bit. But then again, they did just lose one of the top targets in Calvin Ridley. So maybe that's one of the reasons. Sharples, why have you got him at 7?
Yeah, I do agree with you with your hesitations, but yeah, there's just something in it last season where, do you know what? Was it the very last game when they were hyper targeting him to try and break whatever? Like, you don't do that with just anyone, and so I feel like the volume's still going to be there, and it was it was a really good season for Ingram last year. Obviously, Ridley's out the door. No one new's come in other than the rookie Brian Thomas. Yeah. And yeah, again, like I said, not far off Njoku. None of these tight ends truly excite me. But if you've got a guy that you're willing to feed the ball to as many times as they did last year, because he did have a lot of volume last year, I just think why not? Because if he finishes tight end 3 or 4 as he did last year, I believe, then you've got an absolute steal where you're drafting him in the 7th, 8th.
Yeah, fair enough. At number 8, it's the Pitts. The Pitts. Kyle Pitts. Me and Al, same wavelength again. We both got him at 9. Who copied his homework? Sharples, you've got him at 8. So all very similar with Kyle Pitts. It's just one of them for me. It's like, Kyle Pitts, I've got him here. I think us lot as a collective, we all have him lower than he's going, than he's ranked. I think that's just because of the what if. Oh yeah, but if. Well, it's always been a but if this, but if that with Kyle Pitts. So that's why I'm not clamouring to draft him. What do you think, Al?
Yeah, I've been burned way too many times in fantasy with Kyle Pitts. If he does end up being a top 4-5 tight end, I'll concede defeat, whatever. But I think the smart option at this point is to swerve him in your drafts.
Breaking news. That's the breaking news drop, folks.
You see,
it's an actual drop. I didn't just say it.
Here we go. What did I say, Lou, about half an hour ago?
You did, yeah. So this is Monday, 26th of August, 6:58.
Yeah.
Per Adam Schefter, Cowboys and All-Pro wide receiver CeeDee Lamb reached an agreement today on a record 4-year, $136 million deal that now makes him the second highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. The deal includes $38 million signing bonus, the largest ever given to a wide receiver.
Can you imagine if we didn't correct you and we said 8:30? We would have looked like idiots.
Yeah. I need to change my ranking, but it wouldn't actually change the overall rankings as a whole. But CeeDee Lamb's in. There we go. He's got his deal. That's great. You know what? I'm not going to change my ranking. I'll get into why. But yeah, we'll get into that when we talk about CeeDee Lamb when we get to the wide receivers. Back to tight ends. Number 7, I feel like 7 upwards here are guys who I'm pretty happy drafting. I guess, the guys 8, 9, 10, 11, they sort of come with a bit of an asterisk for me. But these guys, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm pretty happy drafting these guys. Coming in at number 7 is CD Lamb's teammate, Jake Ferguson. Sharples, you have him at 10, me and Al, again, both have him at 7. Jake Ferguson's just a good tight end, solid player, showed that last year. He's not going to be top 3, but he's going to get you the points every single week. Dak Prescott likes him. Now CD Lamb's there, this offense is going to be rolling more. This passing game's going to be rolling more. Yeah, I think you can't really go wrong with Jake Ferguson where you're taking him. After these sort of more expensive tight ends for me, really. Number 6 is George Kittle. Me and Al both have him at 6. Sharples, you have him at 5. A little bit on Kittle, Sharples.
No, I mean you just hope he's going to get given the work in the passing game that he rightfully deserves. The problem with him is just he's so darn good at blocking that he's not always out there to catch the ball. But I mean, I think Ayuk not being there certainly helps. So, he probably gives him a bigger target share. Maybe it's just more the fact that I really like George Kittle, and that I want him to have that good of a season. It's just we haven't seen it for a few years where he's been that truly dominant pass catcher. But we know it's in there. We know he can be that. So maybe it just needs Ayuk leaving to get him that little slice of extra work, because he's an absolute monster once he catches the ball, and he could not quite have a Travis Kelce season, but maybe a notch below that. It's just whether he'll be given the opportunity to do that. Yeah,
sure. I mean, Ayuk leaving would bump Kittle up for me as well. I do think he's still going to have a good season, though. We know what George Kittle is now, and this is fine. Like, George Kittle at tight end 6 is great, because the whole problem with George Kittle in previous years was that he was being drafted with Travis Kelce up the 1, 2, 3, and we know what he is. He's sort of boom bust, really. But tight end 6, 100%. Number 5, Dalton Kincaid. Sharples, you have him at 6. Me and Al, again, both have him at 5. Al, a little bit on Dalton Kincaid. I know you spoke about him in the last episode, though.
Really talented player with a pretty good, just actually really solid rookie season, which was just overshadowed by Sam Laporta. I think he's just going to be way more involved in the passing game this year. He's going to step up. You've got some inexperience in there, some unproven players in the kind of wide receiver tight end room. So I think Kincaid's going to step up, become kind of a really pivotal part of this offense. And they're going to realise that Dawson Knox is awful and stop putting him on the field. I think he's going to be really good. I think he's going to break out this year.
Yeah, I was looking at some stats, and Dalton Kincaid is projected to be the number 1 target on this Bills team. That is going to be a good offense. So you want a bit of that, don't you? Number 4, the first time in 6 picks that me and Alex don't have the same ranking. It's Mark Andrews. I've got him at 4, Sharples at 4. Al, you've got Mark Andrews at 3, so I'm going to throw it straight back to you for Mark Andrews.
He's still the same dude. Still the same dude who finished above prime Travis Kelce a couple of years ago in end-of-season fantasy finishes. Still Lamar Jackson's favourite target. Hampered a little bit with injuries last year. But I just think when he's on the field, he's a bit of a target hog for this team. He's really reliable. He's a really good player, and I'm not kind of fading him at all. I'm happy with him as the tight end 3. I'll be surprised if he finishes outside of the top 3, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Number 3 for our rankings is Trey McBride. Al, you've got him at 4, Sharples at 3. I've got Trey McBride at 2. Just because I think the breakout was real. A lot of the stuff I said about Kyler Murray sort of does pass over to Trey McBride. I liked what I saw. This team is probably going to have a bad defense. So they're going to be in shootouts are going to be coming from behind, most likely, which means a hell of a lot of passing, hell of a lot of targets for Trey McBride. Let's not forget Marvin Harrison. Yes, he's very highly touted, but he's a rookie. He is a rookie, so it might take a minute for him to get going. Trey McBride's the safety blanket for that. I can see him having a real proper breakout year where it's like, okay, we've got another one of those upper echelon guys. Number 2, it's Travis Kelce. I've got him at 3. Sorry. Al, you've got him at 2. Sharples, Travis Kelce's your number 1 tight end. Tell us why.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, wasn't his best year last year, but for me, he's still the absolute pinnacle of a tight end ceiling. I just think as good as Laporta is, we've seen Travis Kelce have unbelievable monster games where that pretty much just wins you a week purely because your opponent's tight end's got 5 points and Travis Kelce's got you 30. Also, I do think the fact that he's dropping a smidge going in the 3rd, 4th round makes it, last year you had to spend a 1st round pick on him if you wanted him. I think he went 8th in our league last year. Now you can get him in the 4th. That's juicy. He might fall off. He's got his eyes on Taylor Swift now, but I just think until I really see him break down, I think I would always have to have Kelce as tight end 1.
Yeah, sure. I think, maybe this will be Travis Kelce's most efficient year because he might not be out. We saw last year the fading him out a little bit in the regular season just to keep him fresh in the postseason. So I still think Travis Kelce is going to be great, but maybe he might frustrate you with not how little he's out there. You might not see him as much, but I'm sure the touchdowns will still be there and stuff like that. Coming in at 1, our number 1 tight end for the podcast is Sam Laporta. Sharp as you have him at 2, me and Al. Shock horror. Both have him at 1. Yeah, Sam Laporta's mint. Believe it. Believe last season he was a great player. I guess the question is, can he elevate from that? Which even that last year was excellent. I think he's worthy of being a top pick. But I feel like having him at number 1 is the belief that there's still more to come from Laporta, Al.
Yeah, and a great offense as well. You're noticing with a lot of these players that we're going to pick for each position in the top end, it's all about getting those players on the really good offenses as well. Doesn't matter how talented they are. Malik Neighbors is an amazing wide receiver. He plays for the Giants. You know what I mean? So get these players on really good offenses. The Lions are going to be really good. Laporte was already really good. He's going to take another step. I think he might be quite dominant.
He's going to take several steps, I think, into the end zone.
Yes, very good.
Moving on. Running backs. Starting number 12. Devon Achane. Sharples at 13, Al at 12. I've got him at 11. Now, this is interesting because Devon Achane is not a guy who I've drafted at all, really, in mock drafts and stuff like that. I just think I've got him at 11, just outside of what I think is a top 10 of really sort of solid picks for where they're going, just because of the potential. I'm scared because we had this last year, albeit not the same sort of a level of efficiency, but we had this last year with Tony Pollard. Oh, he was uber efficient. Now he's going to be the guy. And then look what happened. With Devon Achane, the efficiency just scares me because he's not going to be running for 45 yards per carry every time. You know what I mean? I don't know. But I guess, with my ranking, I am, to a certain extent, willing to take the gamble on him there because he does have that game-breaking ability. But he comes in at 12 for us. So I think that's sort of similar across the board for all of us. Sort of, we like him, but we maybe aren't as bullish on that sort of potential of him as other people are. Coming in at number 11 is Rachaad White. Al, you've got him at 15, Sharples at 14. Sharples at 6, sorry. Mm-hmm. I have him at 14. Sharples, you have Rachaad White at 6. Tell us why.
I had him last year where he finished as the running back 6. He was exceptionally consistent, high floor and high ceiling. He was running it in. He got a lot of work in the passing game. Nothing's changed of too much note in terms of the offense. The same wide receivers are still there. Baker Mayfield's still there, and so yeah, he was I believe our collective fantasy MVP last year, and I couldn't bump him down. He's become very dear to me. We've been exchanging letters for some time now, and there's no reason to me why he can't finish as the RB6 again, and I had to put him there.
Yeah. I mean, there's no question that Rachaad White's going to get the work. He is the workout horse back for this team. I think mine and Alex's ranking maybe just reflects in a regression in this offense, potentially. Yeah. Maybe.
That's fair. You're entitled to your opinions, despite how wrong they are.
Coming in at number 10 is Saquon Barkley. Sharples, you've got him at 11. Me and Alex both have him at 7.
Ooh.
I think, yeah, there's that sort of, knee-jerk reaction of going, okay, Saquon Barkley's going to be on one of the best teams in the league. He's going to be... I don't know. I don't know about that. That's why you got him at 7. He's very much in a tier below the upper echelon guys for me. I don't know how you feel about him, Al. I think this is going to be a guy who, he's going to be solid. He's going to, probably get more touchdowns than he has. But then again, there's a lot to go round on this team. Never mind Jalen Hurts vulturing some touchdowns as well. I think at the end of the day, I could see him for sort of having a completely different workload, completely different usage to in New York, and then after all that, just being the same player that we saw in New York. What do you think, Al?
Yeah, he's certainly kind of top of that secondary tier of running back. Well, third tier of running back because the number one's in a tier of his own. Yeah, I mean, the offensive line should still be really quite good. We saw Swift have a lot of fun running behind them last year. Again, am just a bit kind of hesitant to fully embrace it. I think it's a bit older now. It's annoying. The annoying thing is there's wear and tear now on Barkley, but it's needless wear and tear. You find it to be wasted wear and tear because he's been on a Giants team that have been awful, and he was only really good his rookie season. Obviously, he had the injuries, but he was running behind a terrible offensive line. So it just... Even if he has a really good season this year, there's always going to be that aspect of Barkley that there was kind of unseen potential there. But yeah, I'm just a bit... I think, it's the years, it's the wear and tear, it's the age that are coming into it for me.
Of course. Coming in at number 9 is Isaiah Pacheco. I've got him at 9. Alex has him at 9. Sharples, you have him at 7. You know what? For me, I've got him at 9, but I do really like Isaiah Pacheco this year. Tell us why you got him at 7, Sharples.
I just think he became a really integral part of the offense more and more as the season went on. Was key to them in the playoffs and the Super Bowl run. I just think that trend's going to continue. I think he's established himself as obviously the main runner in that team, and it's the Chiefs. The likelihood is they're going to be leading most games, and then you would hope passing it off to Isaiah Pacheco to angrily run through 3 people and get it into the end zone. So really like him. Really like Pacheco this year.
Angry runner. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm looking at my rankings there, and it's like I agree with everything you say. It's just there's 8 guys who I still obviously like.
A lot of talent.
But I think
a lot of talent out there.
Good pick. He is a good pick. Coming in at number 8 for us, which I'm sure this will be higher than consensus, is James Cook. Al, you've got him at 10, Sharps at 9. I've got James Cook at 6. I love James Cook this year, and we're going to leave it there for now. Number 7, Jonathan Taylor. I've got him at 10, Sharpers at 8. Al, you've got him at 5.
Yeah, Ooh. We've all got those guys that the kind of significantly higher than everyone else. Sharples' was White, yours was Cook. Mine's Taylor and Lou. To be honest, it's for a lot of the same reasons why you have Murray so high and you really like Murray this year, Kyler Murray, that is.
Yeah.
He's done it before. I don't think much has changed since Jonathan Taylor was the number one running back in the league in fantasy. He was being drafted consensus one overall a couple of years ago, and there's been some injuries, there's been some contract disputes, and this team has changed, but this team's changed for the better. I honestly could see a world where Taylor finishes this year running back 1. I think you're getting him at a huge deal where he's being drafted because of that. I just think he's a player in his prime who could actually still be getting better. I understand the kind of touchdown vulturing from Richardson, but he's still a rookie quarterback who's going to have to lean on this running game. I just love Jonathan Taylor this year. I don't, talent-wise, player-wise, don't view him really any differently than I did when he was the number one running back in fantasy. So he's a player that I've been scooping up everywhere that I can.
Yeah, fair enough. It just, maybe I'm a victim of that short-sightedness with Jonathan Taylor, where it's like I'm arguing the case for Kyler Murray, but then I've got a short memory when it comes to Jonathan Taylor. But yeah, fair enough. Number 6 is Travis Etienne. I've got him at 8. Al's got him at 8. Sharples, you've got him at 5. Explain that.
I mean, I think I see him as a similar mold to Rashad White, but slightly more talented. He's going to get all the rushing work and a lot of receiving work. Calvin Ridley's gone. Hopefully that bumps up his passing share. And no, that to be honest, that's really as well as I can sum it up. He's a slightly better version of Rashad White, so I had to put him a notch higher.
Yeah, he had spells last year where he was incredible. So I think we know who Travis Etienne is now. Minimal competition in that backfield as well. That is his backfield, and that's something to say. Where we like guys where it's them, it's all them. Yeah. This next one is very interesting, maybe contentious. Number 5, we've got Jahmyr Gibbs. Sharples, you've got him at 10. Me and Alex both have Jahmyr Gibbs at 4. I want to hear your side first, Sharples, and then me and Al will tell you why you're wrong and why Jahmyr Gibbs is amazing.
Yeah. Well, do you remember when you so factually said not 20 seconds ago, we like it when the guy has all the work?
Yeah.
So with Jahmyr Gibbs, as great, as handsome, as lovely as his smile is, horrible David Montgomery is lurking ever present, like a bulbous toad by a murky pond waiting to gobble up flies / rushing touchdowns. Basically, if you've not watched the Lions before, what they do is they get all the way up to the end zone. Gibbs runs 80 yards, and then David Montgomery comes on and runs 1 yard and gets all the glory. And I don't think that's going to change. Obviously, I'm exaggerating. Gibbs, fantastic player, but for me, he's always going to be capped by Monty coming in and stealing those goal line carries. So that's why, unfortunately, I had to cap him where I did.
Sure, and why Sharples wrong, Al?
Sharples is wrong because, just bear with me, I'm just looking where Jahmyr Gibbs finished last year. And if it's above the running back 10, then Sharples is unequivocally wrong, because that means that even with the old system, as I like to call it now, that Sharples just described, that's the old system now, because Gibbs is going to get more work. But even with the old system, he finished running back... don't have it.
Drum roll.
ESPN
actually. He finished running back. You heard it, Sharples. He finished running back.
He was a running back last year.
While you pull that up, I will just say,
I'm just pulling this up. Look, you jump in, and then I'll kind of underline it all.
For me, it is that idea that he was a rookie last year. He's more than likely going to be more involved this year. David Montgomery's a year older. Don't get me wrong, David Montgomery is going to get work, but I can just see him phasing him out slightly. And you want explosive plays on this offense, and Jahmyr Gibbs is more explosive. He's the better running back of the two. I can absolutely see a world where this turns into 65-35 Jahmyr Gibbs, with Montgomery just sort of getting the short yardage, sure, getting some goal line stuff, but coming in there a little bit later in games and stuff. Jahmyr Gibbs set the tempo and stuff like that. I'm done stalling now. Al?
He finished as the running back.
How have you not put
10.
it up yet?
10. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Lou, could you remind the viewers where I have old Jamaica ranked?
You have him, well, from what I consider his floor now, as exactly running back 10.
Exactly, no.
We're all about the upside here. But yeah, that's Jameer Gibbs coming in at 5 for us.
Thanks,
Coming in at number 4, one that we're still a bit divided on, but I think less so because we all have him pretty high. It's Kyron Williams. Al, you've got him at 6, I've got him at 5. Sharples, you have him at 2. So, yeah, tell us why.
Yeah, I mean, apologies for being the outlier so frequently, but the man finished as the RB7 last year, despite missing a large amount of games. I just think he can do everything. The work on the ground, I think he was averaging something daft like 22 touches. He gets a lot of the receiving work. They look for him in the red zone, and yeah, for me, he's Diet McCaffrey. I'm planting my flag on him. I think where he's going midway through the second, I think is too low. I mean, going back to what we said earlier about being a coward, I am scared to draft him over the likes of Breece Hall and Robinson when I'm picking in that first round because, what if I'm wrong? But my heart is absolutely screaming for Kyron Williams as RB2 this year.
Yeah, I mean, I've got him at 5, and I don't hate 2 because I think he is a dude, and he's going to get the work that we know. We can say all we want about Blake Corum, who the Rams drafted, but Sean McVay, time and time again, has shown us that he loves a bell cow running back, and he's got one in Kyron Williams. So there we go. Maybe I'm a little bit low on him, but yeah. Luckily, the final 3 players we are all in sync on perfectly. Bijan Robinson, we have all got at number 3. Al, what can we expect from Bijan this year? We all obviously think highly of him.
I think you can expect him to have a lot of talent, to catch a lot of passes, to score a lot of touchdowns, to rush for a lot of yards, and just look like a really solid, all-round, fantastic running back, and basically a less good version of Breece Hall.
Great segue. At number 2, we've all got Breece Hall, which, for me, it's similar. We've just seen more from Breece Hall. Obviously, he's been in the league longer, but I just think we've just seen more from Breece Hall. He's a great player. Breece Hall is the guy, to me, who is most obvious to leapfrog McCaffrey and be the number 1 on an offense that we project to be better this year with Aaron Rodgers, fingers crossed, healthy. And that's all Breece Hall's really been missing his whole career. He's been missing a good team around him to give him more scoring opportunities and stuff like that. So hopefully with that this year, sky's the limit for Breece Hall. Yeah, I absolutely love Breece Hall as well this year, and I've drafted him whenever I've been able to. Shock horror though, number 1. We've all got Christian McCaffrey. None of us are scared by that big fat red Q next to his name. Why would you be? Sharples, it's Christian McCaffrey, isn't it?
Yeah, I love that Q because that Q talks the nervous people out of taking him 1 or even 2, and I scoop him up at 3. I think we've run out of words to describe him. He's just pure fantasy gold. You take him and you're probably going to win.
Put that on the poster, folks. You take him and you're probably going to win. Let's move on. Wide receivers to round out our rankings. Top 12 wide receivers. Coming in at number 12, it's Devontae Adams. Me and Al, ever in sync, have him at 15. Sharples, you've got him at 10.
Yeah, it might. This one might be a little bit of rose-coloured glasses. I just think he's so good, or has been so good, that I had to have him up there in the rankings. I think, to be fair, I think he's actually got an improved situation from last year because he's gone from a literal potato to Gardner Minshew, who, as we've already discussed, is a competent quarterback who supported Michael Pittman last year. And so I had to keep him there. This might be the year he drops off. But he's not that end of the first, really early second round pick that he used to be. He slipped a little bit. So I think you can afford to take him and take a bit of a punt on him, because when he's on, he's just absolute chef's kiss.
100%. Yeah. I do feel better about Adams with the Minshew news. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't be bumping him up. I think I would still keep him at 15 where I've got him, but I wouldn't be avoiding him or anything like that if he fell to me in a draft or anything. At number 11, we've got Nico Collins. Sharples at 14, Al at 13. I've got Nico Collins inside my top 10 at number 10. Nico Collins is the number one wide receiver for the Texans, and the Texans are going to be a great team. They've paid him like the number one wide receiver. He broke out last year. We're all getting scared because it's quite a crowded room now, but he's the guy. I believe he is the guy for this team, and I believe he can be a top 10 wide receiver. And 10 for me is what I feel like his floor is. He's going to be the number one wide receiver for an offense that's going to be a top 8 scoring offense probably. I think I'm even being conservative at 10, really. I really like Nico Collins this year. He's, at the moment, one of my most drafted players. I really like taking Nico Collins. If I go sort of running back early and I'm in an early pick or something, I love taking Nico Collins end of the second round, beginning of the third round or something like that. It does look like a reach on some platforms, but I'm telling you, I don't see it as a reach at all. Number 10, Deebo Samuel Sr. I've got him at 17. Al's got him at 12. Sharples at 8. Maybe I'm a bit low. Am I, Sharples?
I mean, obviously this is massively dictated by the Brandon Ayuk situation, and at the minute, it's still up in the air. But yeah, it purely is down to that. I mean, if we get another breaking news segment and Brandon Ayuk has signed for the Niners, then it's probably going to change. But right now, he is the head honcho in a really well run offense. Still looks as explosive as ever, and yeah, I just think with the increased workload that'll potentially come from Ayuk going, he could comfortably finish as a top 10 wide receiver. And I think if certainly if Ayuk leaves, he will shoot up draft boards. And as it's going, he's been creeping further and further upwards. So I'm quite high on Deebo this year. He's had went a little bit under the radar last year, I think, but I think he could be back with a bang this year.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, and certainly if Ayuk isn't at the 49ers, your ranking is certainly more on the money than my ranking. I've got him at 17 just because I think Brandon Ayuk's probably going to stay. But it's all systems go if Brandon Ayuk leaves. Number 9, Marvin Harrison Jr. Sharples at 11, Alex at 10. I've got him at number 9. This is an interesting one for me just because, I don't know. That's where he fell when I was doing my rankings, and I didn't feel bad about it. Al, I guess you, with you being a bit more familiar with the college football and the draft prospects, you're probably able to speak on him a bit more than me. But I just like similar reasons to McBride, really. I think this team's going to have to throw it a lot. I think Kyler Murray's going to be great, and everything I've heard and seen from Marvin Harrison has been really good. I mean, am I getting the wool pulled over my eyes here at 9, Al?
No, he's an amazing player. He does everything well, and he kind of landed in the perfect position for a fantasy wide receiver, on a pretty good team, but with a really good quarterback and no other wide receivers in the room. I think the 9-10 ranking ADP is literally just because he's a rookie. That's all it is. It's kind of like, is this too good to be true? And we'll see soon. But no, amazing player.
Nice. Coming in at number 8, Garrett Wilson. Sharples 9. I've got him at 8. Al, you've got Garrett Wilson at 7.
Yeah, and he could even potentially put him in that tier above, I think people are viewing the Jets and the Falcons quite similarly this year, with the quarterbacks and the situations they went through last year and their age, with the two running backs and now these two wide receivers that kind of came into the league at similar times. But I think you've seen the flashes from Garrett Wilson, and you've seen how bad the quarterback play was to know that if he has someone competent throwing the ball, I think he's going to be an amazing player. I think we could very much look pretty stupid even having him down here at 7 come the end of the year. It's just, again, you can't put guys in that top 5, top 4. I don't think that you've just not seen it from before.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, sure. I do agree with that. Puka Nacua comes in at 7 for us. Al, you've got him at 8. Which is interesting because, me and Sharples are higher at 7 and 6. And I think we have seen it from Nacua. I thought I would be the highest on Nacua, but Sharples, you are at 6. Tell us why, but I'm sure I'm going to agree with everything you say.
No, yeah, we saw it last year. We've seen him do it. That there's the only potential variable. Well, actually, no. I suppose there's 2 potential variables. Obviously, one is Cooper Kupp, but also, Matthew Stafford. Is he going to be able to keep it up for another season? But I think although it was his rookie year last year, I'm confident in saying that Nacua season wasn't a flash in the pan. He looks the absolute real deal. I believe finished around about wide receiver 6 last year, if not a little bit higher, maybe wide receiver 4. Yeah. No, I think he got an unbelievable workload last year. Might taper off slightly, but no. Injury aside, I'd be very surprised if he finishes much away from the range that we've got him.
Yeah, I agree, and it's interesting. Obviously, he's the only one at the moment that we can say this about. But second year wide receivers are a decent bet to make because that production often sort of goes up, skyrockets quite a bit, and Nacua was great last year, and I feel like he's only going to be better this year. So yeah, I do really like Nacua this year. Coming in at number 6 is Arthur Juan Brown, AJ Brown. Sharples at 7, Al at 6. I've got AJ Brown at 5. A lot of the same reasons crossover from why I like Jalen Hurts so much. I just think this team's going to be passing it more, higher volume passing with Kellen Moore as the offensive coordinator. AJ Brown had that unreal run last season when he had like 6 or 7 games with 120 receiving yards or more. I think he's and obviously it tapered off a bit, but so did that team really. This is sort of make or break for the Eagles. They've got to really kick on this year. I mean, with this team, that coach as well, the expectation is a Super Bowl. And I just think they're going to be high flying. They're going to be coming at teams, and I think AJ Brown is going to be the main beneficiary of that. I really like him. I've got him at 5.
What I will say, Lou, is since doing these rankings like a little under a week ago, I really loved AJ Brown about 2 weeks ago. Kind of fell in love with a few other players, and as you will come to hear later in the week, I'm kind of head over heels for AJ Brown again, and I could probably bump him up maybe 3 places in these rankings. But that's all I'll say for now, and I think our rankings have shook out pretty well for now. So I'll not shake the boat, and we'll just stick as we are.
Cheers. Number 5, Justin Jefferson. Oof. Maybe that's I never thought I'd see the day, but yeah, Justin Jefferson comes in at 5 for us. I've got him at 6. You two have both got him at 5. We did speak on Justin Jefferson a little bit earlier. This is down to the quarterback. I don't think any of us are worried about. He came back from the injury, obviously, towards the back end of last season. I don't think any of us are worried about the sort of injury still lying around a little bit. This is all to do with the quarterback, unfortunately. Justin Jefferson is excellent player, probably the best wide receiver in the league. But this is just, as a wide receiver, you're sort of at the mercy of your quarterback. And obviously it could be worse than Sam Darnold, but it could be better, hence why we've got Jefferson at 5. At number 4 is Amon-Ra St. Brown. Al Sharples, you both have him at 4. I've got Amon-Ra St. Brown at 3, just because I think he's probably, to me, the most surefire guy, the most surefire wide receiver you could pick, which is a double-edged sword, really, because, like, yeah, he's going to be well consistent. You know what you're going to get with Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, I know his touchdowns were a lot last year, but I still think he's such a key part of this offense that what he lacks in maybe touchdowns this year, what he regresses on in touchdowns, he gets in yardage and receptions. But then again, maybe he does lack that truly game-breaking ability that some of the other guys that we haven't spoke about yet have. I think that's still in Amon-Ra St. Brown, really, which is why I have him at 3. But yeah, great player. I don't think there's a world where, Amon-Ra St. Brown is a bad pick. I do like him that much that I wouldn't do it myself, but if someone took Amon-Ra St. Brown at number 1, I would hear you out. I wouldn't necessarily do it myself, but I'd hear you out. I do like him. Number 3, Jamar Chase. I've got Chase at 4, which pains me, but there is a reason for that, which I'll get to. You two have Jamar Chase at 3. Sharples, tell me why my hero, my perennial number 1 pick, Jamar Chase, is the 3rd best wide receiver this year.
Oh, well, I mean, because he's just about the 3rd best wide receiver in real life football, all things being equal, because it probably goes Jefferson, Hill, Chase. Some people might disagree with that. But yeah, I mean, the only thing that's really keeping him from knocking on the door of that number 1 is the situation, because the contract situation and sort of the wider issues, because on the field, him paired with Joe Burrow is just absolute magic. I think there was a bit of a time when people were worried that Higgins would steal that, and Higgins has been on that team for the past couple of years, and it really hasn't impacted Chase at all. He's probably a little bit, not that he's boom bust, but he's probably a little bit more boom bust than some of those other top tier guys, or he certainly was last season. But with Burrow, he's just got that ability to, by the second quarter, to have 3 touchdowns for 200 yards. It is poetry in motion when they're firing on all cylinders. So he's just a dynamic playmaker, and you want those guys on your team.
Yeah, sure. And as you mentioned, the whole contract situation is why he's probably so low down. I mean, full disclosure, if Jamar Chase was practicing, the contract wasn't an issue, he would probably still be my number 1 wide receiver. I think I did sort of have a little tiny tweak of my rankings while we've been chatting since the CD Lamb news. Not massively, though, because with Lamb, with Chase, I think there is something to say about missing the entirety of training camp that we have seen in the past. Obviously, extreme examples like Josh Jacobs last year, who just sort of didn't look like he was prepared, essentially, for the season. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I think these guys are still excellent, but there is something that scares me with Chase and with Lamb, despite Lamb signing the contract, that's like, okay, maybe it might take a week or two to get up to speed. And if you're going to be my number 2 wide receiver, my number 3 wide receiver, whatever, I don't need a couple of weeks. It needs to be right now. You know what I mean? So I guess that's what has made me a little bit hesitant on those guys, especially Chase with his contract still not happening. It's like, yeah, he's I know he's been there, but he's not. You're not in the team. You're not doing all the stuff you need to do to get ready for the season. But then again, I still think Jamar Chase is elite, incredible player. Number 2, CD Lamb. I've got him at 2. Sharples at 2. Al, you've got him at 1. Tell us why.
Just going to rinse and repeat from last year. Forget everything that we said about Ferguson. He's the only player on this Dallas offense. He's the only player on this Dallas offense. I can't envision them doing anything else than last year, because last year worked so well. It's still crazy to me that they were the number one offense in the league, based on the kind of seeming lack of talent, names, people, bodies to throw the ball to. Tony Pollard wasn't particularly good last year, but I mean, that rhythm that Prescott and Lamb got into was it was unbelievable. It was sensational. You loved it for fantasy. I think we go again. And like you're saying, Luke, because of the contract situation is now resolved, I will 100% be picking him from any time after the first pick in my fantasy draft. If I'm at 2, I'm obviously picking him at 2. If I'm anywhere after 2, I'm hoping he falls to me, because he's my number 2 player in fantasy now.
Certainly. Yeah, absolutely. Number 1, we got Tyreek Hill. Ali, you've got him at 2, me and Sharples have him at 1. I mean, I know Tyreek Hill has had a little hand injury, but to me that's not the same. He's still been there with the team. He's still been doing probably non-catching drills and stuff like that. Everything about this pick says to me that he shouldn't be here, because obviously he's getting on a bit. He's coming in with a bit of an injury, but he's just crazy good. Crazy good. And what we saw last year from Tyreek Hill, and to be honest, the couple of years that he has been in Miami, which we didn't see in Kansas City, is consistency. He's been a legitimate, consistent player that you can guarantee getting you 18 plus points a week, which is mental, because he used to be very much more of a boom bust player. For me, Hill, he's one of those guys. He's like CMC. It's like, I've got to pick him. There you go. Sharples, do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, he actively scares defenders, and like when you're at this level, that's kind of hard to do. Like they just don't. People don't want to have to be the one to try and cover him. He's too quick, and yeah, he can just explode for an 80-yard touchdown from any out of a moment's notice. So yeah, obviously Lamb was fantastic last year. I think I did these rankings under the assumption that he'd re-sign, which he hasn't anyway. But Hill just has the slight edge, because he's a cheater.
He's a cheater, did you say?
He's
accusing him of something?
He's a cheating cheater, yeah.
And that's our official In the Pocket Across the Pond rankings this year, lads. I mean, I feel pretty good about all of them. I mean, some of them, you two are just completely wrong on, but we found a nice average there, I think, hopefully, that can help some people with the upcoming drafts. If they're deciding between a couple of players, they can go, hey, let me have a look where In the Pocket Across the Pond has them ranked, and we can be like, yes, draft James Cook in the second round. But yeah, that'll do us for this episode. We're going to be coming at you later in the week with our predictions episode, talking about our bust pick, division winners, Super Bowl pick, and our fantasy MVPs, all that sort of stuff. But for now, that'll do us. Any closing thoughts, lads? No?
Just happy with that CeeDee Lamb contract.
Yes. Oh, breaking news. Brandon Ayuk has not signed.
Great.
Thanks for listening, folks. We'll see you very, very soon. Goodbye.
Thank you. See you.
Bye, love.